Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerTube, and welcome back to our Five Nights at Freddy's character concept series. So in today's video, the characters we'll be looking into are the Balloon Buddies. So before we start today's video, just a little disclaimer, we are aware that the Balloon Buddies are a Funko variation, and there's a really good chance they probably won't be in the Secret of the Mimic, but we thought they were a really awesome character and we want to include them in the series as well. So this is just a fan-made story, so keep that in mind and enjoy the video. But alrighty, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to GamerTube, and let's get into the character concept for the Balloon Buddies. So previously in our Five Nights at Freddy's character concept series, we've been looking into the factory that manufactures all the animatronics and attractions for the circus. The first mascot character that we were introduced to was the Elephant. This character was one of the first circus mascots to be produced at the factory. He was able to roam around the factory floor and help out the workers however he could. But after a tragic incident, the factory decided to replace his damaged endo with a new one. The Elephant couldn't let this happen, because this essentially meant that he would no longer exist as he was. So he became incredibly hostile to anyone who dared to get close. In the end, the late night factory worker was able to complete their job and escape from the Elephant in one piece. But now as they return back to the factory, they are bound to meet more of these dangerous animatronic characters. Speaking of, let's meet the next characters now. So the next characters that we'll be looking into are known as the Balloon Buddies. The Balloon Buddy crew consists of 4 members. We have Balloon Freddy, Balloon Bonnie, Balloon Chica, and Balloon Foxy. Each of these cute and cuddly characters is sporting a colourful striped shirt, a fun propeller hat, and their own balloon. These characters were simply just miniature versions of their circus characters. They were considerably smaller and a whole lot cuter. So the Balloon Buddies were quite the special characters that were being developed for the circus. Their main purpose wasn't just to be miniature animatronics. There were only 4 real animatronics that were designed to be mascots and roam around the park. The multiple other versions were designed to be toys that could be won as prizes. The Balloon Buddies are the main prizes that the visitors could win. Of course, the animatronic versions weren't up for grabs, but seeing the real moving mascots around the circus would make them want to win a cute toy version of the Buddies even more. So of course the animatronic versions were manufactured first, then came the production of all the toys. The size difference wasn't that drastic. All in all, these would be some pretty large toys. So just like all the other animatronics, the Balloon Buddies were allowed to walk freely around the factory. They too would help out however they could. But due to their small size, they really couldn't do much. They were mainly just seen as cute mascots that made all the workers smile. For the most part, the Balloon Buddies were no trouble at all. But there was one little problem that would eventually prove to be quite serious. So, oddly enough, the Balloon Bunnies were very protective and obsessed with their individual balloons. As long as they all had their balloons at all times, then everything would be okay. But if they were left without their balloons for an extended period of time, then the situation could get quite serious. In the past, if these animatronics didn't have their balloons, then they can show high levels of aggression. As to why this happens is unknown to the workers. All they do know is that they need to have a supply of replacement balloons at the ready. Without their balloons, the Buddies start to change. They once had a close call, but luckily they got them their balloons. As long as they have these reserve balloons on hand, then everything should be okay. But why don't the workers just give them a balloon that won't pop? Surely a stronger material would work, right? Well, the workers tried this once, and needless to say, they would never try it again. Not much is known about the false balloon incident. In classic company fashion, the factory covered up the incident and swept it all under the rug. Anyone who knew about what happened or the Balloon Buddies' behaviour was promptly fired and made to be silent. All that the remaining workers know is that it's company policy for the Buddies to always have a balloon in their hand. They never questioned why, they just followed orders. But on a certain day, one of the workers wasn't informed about this rule. The buddies' balloons all popped and the worker thought nothing of it. They just shut down the factory for the night and went home. But all throughout the night, the balloon buddies were left without their precious balloons. As the hours went by, they all started to change. The first one to crack was Balloon Foxy. Next after that was Balloon Chica, then Balloon Bonnie, and lastly Balloon Freddy. These once cute cuddly animatronics were now a shadow of their former selves. When the workers returned in the morning, chaos ensued. Although some of the workers were injured, they managed to lock the balloon buddies away in a secure room. Under no circumstances were any of the workers to open this door, and for the most part this rule was obeyed, because it wasn't a worker who opened the door. In his paranoia and fear of all the other workers, the elephant needed the balloon buddies to help keep the workers at bay. If they were all too focused on these little critters, then surely they'd leave him alone. So now with the balloon buddies on the loose, our factory worker character has yet another problem to deal with. So now, let's get into the gameplay segment of the video. The player needs to make sure that the balloon buddies are back inside the room before the night is over, but each character would also be stalking them as well. The way in which they were going to get them back into the room would be by luring them in with new balloons. If the player is able to blow up 4 balloons and place them in the room, then the balloon buddies would rush inside. But if any of these balloons pop in the process, then they would need to refill them again. They would need to get one of each of the corresponding colours that each of the characters liked the most. But during this task, they would have to look out for the elephant and each of these balloon buddies. The most active buddy who would appear the most would be Balloon Bonnie. Then, next most frequent would be Balloon Chica. Balloon Foxy would be the fastest character, and Balloon Freddy would be the best at hiding. If the player isn't careful, they could almost miss him hiding in the shadows. The player has to be careful and keep an eye out for these tricky little buddies, because if they don't, then the last thing they'll ever see is a surprise jump scare. So I think the balloon buddies would be an awesome addition to the roster of characters. I think their different playstyles would definitely put the pressure on the player. Whether it's Balloon Freddy hiding in the shadows, Balloon Foxy racing around corners, or Balloon Bonnie and Chica showing up frequently, this would definitely be quite overwhelming for the player. And if they aren't careful, then it would all be over. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of the balloon buddies and what you'd like to see going forward. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and a very big thank you to our GamerTube members as well. But alrighty everyone, until our next FNAF character concept video, I'll catch you later, bye.